two, three people. You think of Stamkos, then you think of Ovechkin, and then it starts to get a little. You start to wonder who the third guy is. It's hard to score 40 goals in the NHL on a regular basis.
That's Ken Holland this morning. And all right, now that I've established how good I think this draft is, Kang, we getting any leg humping? Quit leg humping Ken Holland. Quit leg humping this draft.
Yes.
All right.
We got a couple calls, a couple texts.
Yeah.
They feel like you really like this draft.
That's fine. It's fine. I really like this draft.
They hope you're wearing those padded shorts. Mm-hmm. Some of those texts are coming.
Here comes Gator. Put down a tarp.
Yeah.
I know. I got all the jokes. Just want to go on the record and talk about how much I like this draft.
I mean, the funny thing is, I like the draft.
Yeah,
okay?
Gator likes the draft.
I really like the draft, but
are on another level, Doug.
I mean, he starts making comparisons to Rasheed Wallace and the Pistons and what they did, and I think this is a great first step. Is what I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great first step, and I think that things fell in their lap, and they can't believe what fell into the lap, and I think the NHL world can't believe what fell into the Red Wings' lap. In fact, the term I heard for day two, I started watching because day two didn't have NBCSN. It was now on NHL Network. The term that was used in describing what the Red Wings had done through their first two rounds, when they talked about Ken Holland, said Ken Holland is torturing the NHL right now with what's going on in the draft. Torturing was the word. I'm like, that is a brilliant word to use. It certainly makes you think things about this draft, like they got it right.
When you make moves, okay, and I'm sure there's plenty of Ken Holland got lucky texts coming in too, because they didn't move around. They didn't maneuver at all. Guys dropped to them. But when you end up selecting guys that people think you were going to have to trade for, you deserve credit for that too. You sat back, you didn't panic, and the unthinkable actually played itself out. I mean, one of the tweets we got during the weekend, let's see if I can find it here, from S. Klein 1174. Did the Wings really just get Zadina, or am I dreaming? That's the way it should be looked at. Champ and Chump. Let's get to Champ and Chump. Gator.
Tell the truth, though. Did you pinch yourself?
I couldn't believe it.
It feels like it's one of these. I had to literally pinch myself.
I couldn't believe it.
I mean, you are all in on this. Dang, is he all in? Is he all in?
He's so all in. This is. I haven't seen you this excited ever. I don't think. We're like. That's why I asked earlier.
No, I've been this excited. And Ndamukong Suh is a draft pick. I was that excited.
He was pretty excited.
Now, Zadina signs a contract, and his agent comes out and says, we like this contract because it gets us to free agency quicker. I'm going to start having my doubts. But Zadina's quote was, I'm gonna fill Montreal and Ottawa's nets with pucks for passing on. I'm going to fill their nets with pucks.
He said that of Montreal. If Montreal passes on me, I'm going to fill their net with pucks. And then, obviously, Montreal and other teams passed on him and came to the Red Wings. And now he's like, yep, they're all going to pay, which is great. Make them pay, man. Pure goal scorer, love it. Because guess what they need? Goal scoring. They also need defense. But,
yes, they do. There's other moves to be made.
But you can't pass on the talent that apparently is Philip Zadina.
Yes, and we've said all along that the Red Wings have some nice players that next to a superstar would look great. And so they need to acquire that superstar, whether it be through trade, free agency, or draft. This could be it. This could be it.
And by the way, you know what we have in town now? We have our own Phil.
We do. We do have our own Phil.
That's the most exciting part of all.
All right, let's get to Champ and Chump, Gator. I'm going to let you go first with Champ.
All right, well, my champ, independent of Doug's, is Ken Holland. He used the draft wisely to tap into some serious talent and get the rebuild off on the right foot. Both first-round picks are projected to go higher and much higher in Veleno's case, so hats off to Kenny Holland. He got it right, and the Red Wings scouting department looked like they got it right. We won't know for sure for years down the road, but with the first two rounds, they had 4 picks in the top 36, and it being hailed as a very good draft by the Red Wings. So hats off to Ken Holland.
My champ is Gator for having the right champ. No, we try not to have the same champ. My champ is Bo Burrows, who had double-A yesterday. 6 innings, 4 hits, 11 strikeouts. 11 strikeouts.
That's a lot of strikeouts.
Recorded 18 outs, 11 of them via strikeouts. You're having a good day. Bo Burrows, pitcher for the Tigers system in Double-A Erie, my champ of the weekend. Chump Gator.
Man, you a chump.
But my chump's Matthew Boyd. 2 games in Ohio this week. Not good for the Tigers starting pitcher. He allowed 11 runs on 14 hits and 7 combined innings against the Reds and the Indians. Just a real struggle. And I don't know what happens to the Tigers when they go to Cleveland, but it turns into a buzzsaw, and not in a good way. It seems like they can never, ever get the first 3 guys out. And then if those first 3 guys get on base, then the 4th guy does something too. And then Encarnacion, and he had a couple home runs as well. It's just a brutal experience to watch it. But Matthew Boyd has been their best pitcher, the most consistent pitcher, and had great numbers against the Indians going into it. Coming out of it, not so much.
All right, my champ of the weekend is Montreal, Ottawa, and Arizona for passing on Philippe Zadina. There it is. Get your champ and chump votes in.
It's unbelievable.
In all seriousness, here. Sorry,
what?
that wasn't a word. That wasn't even a word.
Roll with it, man. Roll with
I
it.
feel like
All right, in all
again.
seriousness.
Is this like Crosby or Connor McDavid falling to the wings? I mean, that's the way you're sounding to me as a person who doesn't follow the NHL draft, who doesn't know who these kids really are. That's the way you're reacting to me.
There was no Crosby or McDavid in this draft.
Okay.
But there were 3 players that stood out above the rest, and one of them dropped to the Red Wings, and they didn't have to make a move. I think he has potential to be a superstar.
Well, there was one player that stood out above everybody.
There was
in Rasmus Dahlin, who people think
was the
is
unanimous number 1 pick.
an amazing defenseman for the ages.
Then after that, 2 and 3 were pretty obvious, and somehow 3 or 2, however you looked at them, got to Detroit. Again, going into this weekend, I talked to my sources in the league to find out stuff, and coming out of it, they just were in shock. One of them, by the way, is not a Ken Holland fan, but said Kenny knocked it out of the park. So 248-539-9797. Ticket text 97136. Champ, the Detroit Red Wings. Absolutely great day by Ken Holland. Really improved the prospect pool, and Zadina has a real chance to make the team next year. Chump, the Tigers. What an absolute joke of a performance this past weekend. Champ, Ken Holland for a great first 3 rounds. Chump, Montreal for passing on Zadina. From Detroit Rugby, my champ is the Wings for getting 4 players with first-round grades, if you believe the scouting services. And my chump is Doug for going for a bike ride an hour before his son's game. I go to the bar so I can deal with my son missing his assignments all game.
Now, I will say this about the Red Wings getting 4 players, the first-round grades. They drafted 4 picks in the first 36. Okay, there are 31 picks in the first round. So, they had a couple guys that they took obviously in the second round that may have been first-round guys. If you watched the draft at all, you heard a lot of this. Hey, there's 50 players here that could have gone anywhere in the first 50 picks.
Yep.
These guys, they could be first-round picks or anybody you just don't know. There were very few picks that were selected in the first 50 where people said, wow, this is quite a reach. There were a couple.
A lot of texts coming in here from Ken Holland bashers. And this is specifically who we've put the bat signal out today, how you're processing what happened this weekend, because I would imagine you're pretty happy with the draft. Does it overall change your opinion of Kenny Holland or the future of the Red Wings? That's what we're really interested in.